We have some young French people who, in order to defend the rights of foreigners, go and kill other French people. That means you're killing your own brother to defend people you don't even know. Who come here to drain social security and attack us in the streets?
Hello everyone, I'm here in front of the Sorbonne. There's a demonstration in tribute to Quentin, who, as you know, was killed by Antifas, lynched to death in Lyon, in front of Sciences Po. So, let's go see what all these people think about this. Let's go, follow me, look Thomas. The Sorbonne, how magnificent it is. Film the beauty of France. We're living a dramatic play in a sublime setting. That's really what we're experiencing in France today. Nicolas, hello? Hello? What are you doing here? Tell me.
I'm here first of all to pay tribute to Quentin, of course, and to send all my thoughts to his family and loved ones. That's the first thing. I wanted to join this gathering. I traveled from afar and it was complicated, but I still came because I believe it's important for as many of us as possible to be here. To show that the left shouldn't get away with it, it's unthinkable to let this political side, which is becoming more radical and marginalized at a very fast pace, get away with nothing happening. We can already see them starting to try to awkwardly shift the blame, and you can really tell that they're extremely uncomfortable, actually. We still need to keep up the pressure. They and La France Insoumise must pay. I mean, not just criminally, but politically. There's responsibility and direct complicity in helping them get elected. We could also discuss Macron's party's role in this. But when they helped elect Raphael Arnault to the National Assembly, I'm sorry, but there are no excuses. They're guilty of at least a compromise, and otherwise they're complicit in what happened. We have someone definitively convicted of group violence and multiple assaults. I repeat this often because it's very important to me. Many French people, not just those on the right, might agree with this, but instead of attacking so-called far-right individuals, they target Macron supporters. A few years ago, at the University of Nanterre, some young Macron supporters were attacked by Raphael Arnault's youth guard. That is to say, everyone they consider to be on the right, for them, are Nazis. Clearly, it starts with Macron. In fact, it concerns all French people, whoever they are, who are not ultimately from the far left. This violence...
Do it.
Well, listen, I'm here to pay tribute to Quentin. I'm a bit disarmed by the violence that's hitting the national camp. I feel like we're fighting a system that's actually media-driven, legal, political and cultural. And we've only got our little arms, so I know we're right. And France is beautiful, eternal, and as long as there's life, there's hope. But I saw the reactions on social media. They're starting to make fun of him and everything. It takes a lot of maturity not to fall ourselves into violence, in words, in deeds, in actions. I'm very worried about the future of the country, about our society. So there you go. I don't know. We're here, you see, but we've already had gatherings like this before. We were there for Lola. We were there for Philippine. I don't know what we can do. Also, I would really like the French people in rural areas, the French people in the outer suburbs to join us in this fight. Because what we see here is that we have a bit of a city France. But where are the French people who deal with immigration every day, who deal with the actions of the Antifa? Because Antifa isn't just a proto-terrorist city organization. There are also people who are a pain in the ass for us, in the media, in ads, in the cultural industry, who spit on the French people and on France. It's been going on for 40 years. And I would really like us to stand up to them, no matter what our political beliefs are. So
There you go. What should we do?
Or we must take legal action against those committing violent acts, as political violence is unacceptable and they should be imprisoned. Quite simply, they need to be treated for what they are, that is terrorists. Political violence that is theorized and encouraged, and which is unfortunately, as we saw in the case of Quentin. This violence that can sometimes happen and cause deaths, this violence for a political purpose, is literally terrorism. And so they are political terrorists. They must be treated as such. And in such serious cases, they should be put in prison for a very long time. And what about the others? All those who are complicit at one level or another must also go to prison. And I say this all the more freely because if someone from the right had done exactly the same thing, but in the opposite direction, of course, I would obviously have agreed that they should be punished criminally for it, and harshly, because violence in politics is unacceptable. But La France Insoumise has a relationship with political violence that is totally different from the rest of the political class in general. They accept it, they theorize it, they encourage it, they minimize it, or even participate in it, like Raphael Arnault, and it's just not acceptable. It has to stop. So you must act and treat these people like terrorists, which is fine because it calms them.
The situation is very tense in Lyon. There are even several Antifa groups. It's not just the Young Guard, there are others too.
The Young Guard and the Galets are notorious for daily attacks on students and ordinary people. Jacques Zélie, Raphael Arnault's assistant, threatened an acquaintance of mine with death just for having a French flag on his bag. That's the level we're dealing with. Some say, stop being an activist and you'll have fewer problems. But anyone who shares or is linked to our ideas could still be threatened by these people. To these people, anyone right-wing or who loves France deserves death. And when I was recently handing out flyers in front of Versailles University for the elections, someone openly told me, I hate France. And I consider that the Les Républicains are Nazis, meaning that more than half of France are currently Nazis. For them, and ask them what they want to do to Nazis, they want to kill them. And that's the problem. It's that they want to kill everything that's to the right of them. What they want is to systematically intimidate all people affiliated with the right, so that these people stop campaigning, stop mobilizing, and so that we can't defend our ideas. Because when you're afraid of violence, when you're afraid of being beaten up, when you're afraid of being exposed, well, you stop. And that's what they want, and that's what works. The number of people they beat up, how many come back, how many still want to share their political ideas, how many have the same courage as you to keep going out there. When you're attacked every day, that's the problem. The problem is that the Young Guard's agenda, that's why it works hand in hand with left-wing political parties. It's because the left-wing political parties push these ideas, and the Young Guard makes sure that we can't express them. That's the purpose of the violence. The entire program of the left right now is to say that violence works, and we support it.
I believe there are the nemesis. Sorry, Antifa, murderer, justice for Quentin.
Thank you for being here. Thank you all for enduring this weather and this rain. The cause is noble, and this gathering is a beautiful proof of that.
I'm not asking leading questions. My questions are proper, and I can ask anyone I want. Before that, I'm going to take a picture. Happiness to the judge, because this is the fourth time I've seen it. Yes, it's because there are some things that...
Hello to him, this is TF1A. Okay.
All right.
Mélenchon and Rima Hassan deny any connection to the attack.
They can denounce it as much as they want, Mélenchon insisted. Officially, the Young Guard, Rima Hassan was photographed with the entire Young Guard, wearing armored gloves and hoods. They are totally complicit. This isn't the first incident at Dauphine University. A student was previously beaten, as reported by Le Canard Enchaîné and the Young Guard in a similar context. The recurring issue is what's being done about it. For years we've been warning, for years students have been getting lynched in places of study, for years there's been violence, and for years the government has done nothing. They are complicit.
But what do these people want for France? How do they see it? France in 50 years?
Mixed, destroyed, they hate France. When I began studying at Sciences Po Lyon, my school was blocked, so I went to see who was there. And at one point I realized that one of the signs was in the colors of France, and I say, oh, that's funny, there are the colors of the French flag. They took the sign and tore it up in front of my eyes because it had the colors of the French flag. On a left-wing message, that's how anti-France they are. They hate France, everything it stands for, and the French people.
To all our elected officials, to all our deputies, I also ask our group, I ask them not to sit in the National Assembly anymore, as long as Raphael Arnaud does not resign.
Under ear pencil, the ear pencil.
Ear pencil, ear pencil.
Tell me, what are you doing here?
I came to honor this young man who I believe was murdered. I don't know if we can put it that way.
In murder, there's an element of premeditation.
When you come, he was armed. I think he wanted to fight, not young Quentin, but those who are with him, so maybe he didn't intend to murder. If he's already on the ground and you keep hitting him, it's because you want to kill. They weren't just pushing each other. The footage makes that clear.
And you? How does it make you feel to know that such a thing happened?
I'm not sure how to answer, but it seems to be getting worse. It seems to me, at my age, I've lived through quite a few events. There weren't any deaths, there wasn't this kind of violence, even if there was verbal violence. But I don't think it went as far as it does now. Maybe that's just how I feel. I don't know if it's accurate, but I'm pretty pessimistic about how things are developing. I don't really see how we're going to get out of this situation. Because it's true that nobody talks anymore, we can't have a conversation. It quickly becomes insults. It seems to me that there was more dialogue before, because now it's really a climate of violent opposition.
Could this lead to a civil war?
I don't know what definition we can give to civil war. Because right now, we're at the point where there are people who don't even feel French anymore. I don't know if we can talk about civil war, since civil war is between people who feel like they're from the same country. Here, I'm not even sure that's the case. But yes, it's a very toxic atmosphere. There are still places where it's clear that there are lawless areas.
Vincent Lapierre, I'm good. And you?
It's because yesterday your assault...
Him? He's my pocket BHL. Are you still on my channel?
Yeah, I admit, I'm the Joker card. You wanted to do a report, but I said it was too risky. Yesterday a woman was at your place. Do you remember where you live? In Argenteuil, a girl was attacked the day before. There's trouble everywhere. It's New France. You get used to it.
But in this case, it's not about chances for France, it's the far left.
Yes, indeed, these are two ideologies that come together against the idea we have of France, against the freedom we have in the West, against our civilization, against our culture. These are two ideas that come together, like in Iran, and in the end they clash with each other. Even if in the end, like in Iran, they will turn against the left.
What did you think about what happened to Quentin?
What happened to Quentin, obviously it's horrible, but it's going to become the norm. You see, it started with Charlie Kirk, but actually we're a year away from the elections. It's going to become the norm, it's going to become commonplace, it's going to be like the Salem witch hunts, it's going to become totally normal, you know, the extreme, the norm of chaos, and now we're reaching two forms of extremity. You see, it will end in clashes and deaths. As elections approach, this will only increase, don't you think?
Is it going to get worse?
Yes, obviously. Like all civil wars between two sides, violence will become the norm. Well, it already is. Now, there are stabbings every other day. We've gotten used to it, but there will be lynchings in the street. And I think that after a while, it will be on both sides. Because if you're the only one following the rules, you automatically lose. So at some point, you'll have to stop so many other little like holes from playing, morally. At some point, if we keep getting killed every other day, obviously the law, etc., there are limits because it's always the same side suffering. They're the ones getting stabbed. It's always the same people. You see, at some point, we've had enough.
So you don't know if we're going to make it?
That's terrible. I'm going to believe in it. Not for me, but for my children and my grandchildren. For me, my future is more behind me than ahead. But I have to admit, I'm worried about my grandchildren. Maybe not my children, but definitely my grandchildren. I also have a granddaughter who's a bit older than Quentin, the oldest. I wonder what kind of world she'll live in, and I don't think she knows. I'm glad to see many young people here as I attended the demonstrations supporting the police. And there were only old people, well, old people like me, you know, very few young people.
There's a young man in front of us, so why are you here?
I actually feel very moved by Quentin's death, and as a result, I also identify with him a little. Like I said, I'm years old and he's 22. And yeah, what happened on Friday was really a tragedy.
Do you feel tempted to join far-left groups, or does that not appeal to you at all?
Me, I'm involved with Saraknafo, so that doesn't appeal to me at all.
Far-left, yes, indeed. And why Saraknafo? Because there are plenty of young people at universities who say, yeah, the left is the good side, and so on. Why not you?
Me, I'm interested in politics, so I think that's mainly why. That's it, I'm just getting involved simply. And I think that with just logic, you can come to understand things that people at the Sorbonne University, for example, might not necessarily understand.
They say that, for example, Saraknafo is far right, that she's against immigration, so she's against it.
Yeah, but they're not interested. It's just labels. It's just that people keep telling them far right. It's evil, it's evil. They realize that, so they don't form their own opinions. They're somewhat influenced by those around them and by left-wing media.
You see, I have some girlfriends who walk around near where I live. They always carry pepper spray. They're always stressed. They avoid certain streets. No, but it's unbearable. You know, excuse me, I'm repeating myself. I've been to 50 countries, okay? I've been to 3 countries at war. I've been to countries where there was Sharia law, okay? Well, even the countries with Sharia law, it was less bad than some neighborhoods in France or in London. You know, in Ukraine, under the bombings, you see, I come back to France and I think, what is this crazy country? Actually, our average level of violence is equal to that of a country at war, if not higher. You see, people will say that you're fantasizing, that you're exaggerating, that you're brainwashed by CNews, that you're lying. Well, listen, I have perfect eyesight. That's what I'm exposed to, you know? It's just my experience. Honestly, I don't care about the rest. Come take a walk around Argenteuil and so on, towards the war zones and so on. You'll see. Or women can simply wear Western clothes. Here's what I noticed. In Whitechapel, London, they kicked me out for not having a beard, saying I wasn't Muslim. That's the first sign of Sharia, you know? Afterwards, it's the same logic, the same kind of fascism. Actually, you find it on the left, it's on the left, right? But I think fewer and fewer people are saying what we fantasize about, because actually it's everywhere, even deep in the countryside. You see, no, it's just a moment. There are fewer and fewer people. Yeah, maybe the hipsters from République, but I don't think it's about ideology anymore. Like they say, no one is more blind than someone who refuses to see. I don't wish for anything. Those guys from République, the leftists, the Republicans, El Fidou, see it clearly. But they're so stuck in their ideology, they're willing to put on blinders. What? Quite simply, but they're aware of it.
It's a moment of silence.
Thank you.
It breaks my heart that French people are fighting each other today. Well, obviously, it's not just a confrontation, it's not just a brawl like we've heard in the media. For me, it's a political assassination, and it's very important to use those words, or at least to call it a political murder. So here we are, young French people defending foreigners' rights end up killing other French people. That means you're killing your brother, you're killing your own people to defend people you don't even know who are coming to our country. Only not to avoid the issues, the welfare benefits and attacking us in the streets. You see, that's really how I see it, like a kind of fratricidal struggle. And even, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I don't know, maybe it needs to be said too. I feel like it's also creating a fratricidal struggle within the right wing. Actually, I feel extremely uncomfortable with all the things being said against the Nemesis Collective. They're being blamed for having some responsibility in what happened. It makes me uncomfortable. Why? I don't always agree with everything they do. It's not that I disagree, but sometimes we're not on the same page and I tell myself that's fine. Maybe it's because Jay is 35 years old and for me, the Instagram stuff and signs in the street, maybe. Actually, I gave my youth to that, so it's not really my thing anymore. But actually, they managed to convince a lot of people that way. So I think they have a really important role in the community because I think they help a lot of women make the switch. So I first noticed that at first people criticize this side of things, like these methods, the influencers, you know what I mean by influencers? There's this attitude like, oh, it's not noble, that kind of thing. And then people also criticize the fact that they supposedly put Quentin's life in danger. You see, I actually want to respond to that. But first of all, he was 23 years old. At 23, you're young, but you're not a kid anymore. You're responsible for your actions. So he knew what he was doing when he went to Sciences Po, wanting to protect them. Actually, if you start developing this kind of argument, then you could say, you could still blame Charbes for getting all his friends killed and also Charbes Kabu, who drew caricatures of Muhammad. In the end, you could tell them it's your fault that the cops who were protecting you and your colleagues were murdered. And actually, when it comes to all political assassinations, you could use the same narrative.
LFI murderer, LFI murderer.
LFI kills, look.
And we also rhymed with murderer.
LFI, you rhyme, murderer too.
No, no, no.
That's it. Rima assassin. No, we don't feminize it. It's assassin, an assassin, an assassin. No?
Yes, think?
Well, yes.
I think so.
No, not a murderer. What are you doing here?
So what am I doing here? I came to pay tribute to this boy, Yes, of course, what happened is terrifying. I predicted that several years ago already, and now it's happening. These leftists are dangerous people. It's a pandemic. It's worse than acquired immunodeficiency syndrome.
What should we do?
Exactly. We need to come together and then we need to take action. If they attack us, we'll retaliate. Who does he think he is? Mélenchon? But that's the image of France today. We can't tolerate these people anymore. We're being colonized like during the revolution. You know who killed Louis XVI? It wasn't the people, but Robespierre and Danton. It's those petty bourgeois from among them. It's the leftist petty bourgeois who went to good schools. Some take public transport, some have cars, some go on vacations. They're worse than anything. They're thugs, worse than real thugs from the suburbs. They're leftists. Last night I cried for that boy. I was devastated. To die at 23 years old for his beliefs, freedom of speech, where is it in this country? What's happening is terrifying. I never attend these events, but this is my first time in years.
You could also say, yeah, but Charlie Kirk, maybe he actually hadn't taken enough safety precautions. Was it his assassination in the end? I mean, wasn't it maybe a little bit his fault? Maybe there was some recklessness involved? There you go, no. Actually, what people say about Nemesi isn't so much that they provoked it, it's that they were too reckless, that they didn't assess the danger and all that. I find that disgusting, honestly. I can't even imagine how they must be feeling right now. And I think it's disgusting to put that kind of weight on their shoulders, when in fact the ones truly responsible are first and foremost Quentin's murderers. Then it's the people who allowed and actually encouraged this climate of violence. That is to say, the entire far left, and not just La France Insoumise within the French far left. Currently, violence is theorized as a legitimate tool for political struggle. It's theorized, it's said in meetings, that's it, La France Insoumise. They openly show collaboration with the Young Guard, the Antifa movement. Well, that's it. And then there is also, at the highest level of the state, actually, a president, and then interior ministers who, one after another, actually have done what, I don't know. That's it. I mean, actually, we on the right have been aware of the violence from the far left for a long time. You and I were threatened. We can also talk about plenty of other people, actually, who are threatened, like the girls from Nemesis, like Damien Rio, and so on. We regularly found ourselves at protests. Like the last time we saw each other, it was at the one for Charlie Kirk. You and I, we were wondering if it would ever happen in France. Would we one day have our first death too because of far-left violence? Well, here we are, we're there. And yet we actually sounded the alarm. We tried to alert the people in power, and those people did nothing to protect us. Yet, it seems to me that in the job description for the Minister of the Interior, at least part of the job is supposed to be protecting the population. So I think I'm very angry. I'm very angry at those people who allow this violence to happen today, even to the point of bloodshed.
Why are you here today?
Quite simply out of solidarity with the family and friends of poor Quentin, who was murdered for his political beliefs. And this isn't the first time we're talking about this. Thank God, but I was with another comrade and we've been activists for a long time. We've all experienced attacks. I myself went through something pretty similar. We didn't discuss some things before, so it's good we're talking now.
According to the media, there's an equivalence. In fact, Quentin's tragedy is just a brawl to them. Actually, there's the far right and the far left fighting each other like that, and in the end there are deaths for them. That's the story. But in reality, what is it?
In reality, there's a political party called Les Filles and their associates who regularly call for murders and political violence. And then on the other side, in the National Assembly, there's Droite Nationale, which does not call for violence. On the contrary, they distance themselves from it, even from movements that might be a bit extreme. And putting them back to back might also be a way of not saying that violence essentially comes from the left. It's in their DNA. I mean, their history. History has always shown that, yes.
That is to say, for them, they want to fight fascism, overthrow the government.
It's not really very democratic on their part. Well, the dictatorship of the proletariat. Since 1916, we've seen all the horrors of communism. We haven't had communism in France, but there's still much to address.
So, what should we do today against these Antifas who think they're completely above the law?
Enforce the law, nothing but the law. I mean, the laws exist, then they need to be enforced, and that's the problem in our country. We have plenty of laws. We'll probably come up with new ones again, but it's useless. They need to be enforced in all their strictness. The law is harsh, but it is the law.
Where are we headed? If we keep going like this, if we do nothing, if nothing changes like it's been for 40 years, where will that lead us? Where, in your opinion?
Honestly, it hurts to say it, but the end of France as we've known it and as we can still try to know it. If we visit the countryside where some beauty remains, we can find it everywhere. Even the Sorbonne is magnificent.
It's sublime, magnificent, it's sublime.
The Sorbonne Lettres, which is very beautiful. Like all architecture in France, not just Paris, but everything will be destroyed. The architecture, the art, the respect. It's not just material, it can also be immaterial, everything that is destroyed. By continually allowing large-scale immigration and moving toward extreme leftism, if she gains power, we're all in trouble. I'm just being honest.
But in any case, what you have to realize is that Quentin, you see, if he had the power, there would be riots every day. You know, if there was no police. For her, it's the same thing.
People who tweeted that the left doesn't kill enough, yeah?
Yeah, but for them, it's a source of pride. You see, because the left has always operated through fear, because they know very well that the idea doesn't work. You see, they live by the idea and by terror, because in reality, it doesn't work. You see, that leads to Red Khmer, that leads to the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, that leads to 100 million deaths, that leads to Mao Zedong. So the only thing they have to impose, no matter the cost, is fear. You see, and that's how they operate.
Let's not just push back fascism, let's destroy it. What happened to the fascists in Lyon is a good sign. Listen, if we don't eliminate them, they'll come after us.
But I think the kind of violence they're adopting more and more, you see, is because they feel like they're losing control. And they're going to lose it more and more, so they're going to get more and more violent. You'll keep seeing people like Charlie Kirk in France, like Quentin, and it'll get worse as elections approach. So we really need to support each other and toughen up. I think we have to be ready for the fight. I'm not saying this half-heartedly. I've been to countries at war, so yeah, I'm pretty sure of myself, you know?
Oh, it's France Television. Look, France Television, it's with our money, all that, so good equipment anyway, right? Yeah. Don't spread too much misinformation if you can, guys. Don't inform yourselves too much if you can, guys.
You can. As for me, I came here, I'm left-wing, and I wanted to tell you that people are fed up with the burqa and everything, and the veil everywhere.
And it's not just right-wing people, damn it. There are people on the left, too. Talk to left-wing people as well.
The people who suffer the most from this invasive immigration are the people on the left. It's the poor who live in these neighborhoods. It's the working class. It's not the wealthy who live in the 16th district. So you shouldn't just address right-wing people. And on the other hand, with this nonsense about immigration, they're going to make the working class accept retirement at 90, the privatization of everything and all that. I'm still on the left, but I'm tired of immigration. It exists, and there are a lot of us, and that needs to be said. Stop talking about the left and right. We're tired of the right, and even some on the left are fed up with immigration. I was left-wing, and Charlie Hebdo were my idols.
You were leftist?
Oh, well, yes, but they try to make us look like Nazis just to justify violent acts afterwards.
I almost got you beaten up. There was a brother who was an Islamist there. I complain about the girl Fatima. She questions what I just said.
We have to fight for our culture and for our descendants. Long live France.